The woman attended the wealthy woman's wedding, only to see that the groom was her husband, who had been dead for 8 years. At that moment, she couldn't believe that her husband, who had died 8 years ago, was still alive. It turns out that 8 years ago, they were a loving couple, forced by financial difficulties. The husband decided to work away from home, leaving his wife to take care of his parents and younger brother. As they parted, they held each other tightly, unwilling to let go. Little did they know, this parting would lead to an 8-year-long wait. Not long after he left, a sudden storm at sea caused him to fall into the sea and disappear. When the woman heard the news of her husband's death, she felt as if the sky had fallen. She immediately rushed to the seashore to search everywhere, but only found the safety amulet her husband had dropped. Devastated, the woman decided to take good care of her husband's family. But a few days later, her in-laws forced her to leave, not wanting her to live a lonely life as a widow. However, the woman had promised to support her husband's family. Unexpectedly, the man didn't die after falling into the sea, but was saved by a wealthy woman. When the wealthy woman asked about his family situation, he lied, claiming he was an orphan with no home in order to gain wealth and status. The wealthy woman, feeling pity, took him in. Little did she know that his parents and wife were longing day and night for his return. 8 years passed in the blink of an eye. The man enjoyed a life of luxury and comfort. While the woman mistakenly believed her husband was dead, she shouldered the burden of the entire family alone. Widowed for 8 years in the countryside, she carefully cared for her husband's parents. Unexpectedly, her father-in-law suddenly had a stroke one day. The doctor said he needed to be urgently sent to the city for treatment. The woman remembered her husband's last words. She rode a tricycle, carrying the elderly couple straight to the city. It took her 300 kilometers of pedaling to reach the hospital. Just after getting her father-in-law into the operating room, she was nearly exhausted. At this moment, urgent news came from the neighboring ward. The wealthy woman was in unbearable pain and urgently needed a doctor. Because of this, the man ordered his men to forcibly take away the doctor who was operating on his father. After an examination, it was found that the wealthy woman was pregnant. The two quickly decided to marry immediately. However, he didn't know that his father's life was hanging by a thread. The woman learned that this hospital was owned by the wealthy woman. To save her father-in-law, she could only go plead with the wealthy woman. As soon as she stepped out, she heard the nurse say the wealthy woman had been discharged and that they were holding the wedding at a hotel. The woman, holding a bouquet of flowers, rushed to the wedding, only to find that the groom was her husband, who had been dead for 8 years. She couldn't believe what she saw. Watching her husband and the wealthy woman slowly walk to the center of the stage, and seeing her husband propose to the wealthy woman, tears uncontrollably streamed down the woman's face. She couldn't believe how her husband had changed. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, her in-laws received wedding sweets from the wealthy woman and wanted to share the joy. But upon seeing the photo, they realized that the groom was their son, who had been missing for 8 years. Upon learning that their son was still alive, they were overwhelmed with joy. But seeing their son marrying another woman, the mother's face changed. Because over the years, their daughter-in-law had cared for them with meticulous attention. They had long since regarded her as their own daughter. In anger, they decided to go to the wedding, swearing to confront their unfaithful son face to face at the wedding amidst the applause. The man was proposing to the wealthy woman with everyone clapping, seeing them so happy on the stage. The woman thought of her own wedding 8 years ago. Back then, the man had also promised to love her for a lifetime. But now he was making the same promise to another woman. This made the woman feel incredibly sad, as they embraced and kissed. The woman couldn't help but rush forward.